Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal.
Case file number 1466, written by Beneficial Agent 4000. 29 crickets lost in a parallel universe. My son and I always watch stuff around glitches, and he, 10 male, will always ask me, 32 female, if I've ever experienced a glitch before, which I never had until now. My son had a bearded dragon, so I have to buy crickets a few times a week. I went to the pet store I always go to and got 30 small crickets. I watched the woman count them as she was dropping them into the bag. The bag is also blown up and not flat like a Ziploc bag would be. I get to my car, which is maybe 20 feet away, and realize there's only 4 crickets. I immediately think there's a hole and they've escaped, as this has been my fear since we got the beardy. But nope, no crickets anywhere and no hole in the bag. I know I saw her put 30 in, but figured I was remembering wrong. So I went back in and told her there were only 4 crickets, and her face drops. She says, "Actually, there's only 1 cricket in here." At that point, I knew I wasn't crazy. I clearly remember counting 4. She looked at me with a terrified look and said, "I know I put 30 in here. You saw me, right?" She even went as far as to fill the bag with water to see if there were any micro holes that they could have gotten through. There was nothing. We both looked at each other for a few seconds with a mix of fear, confusion, and debating our own sanity. These crickets are small, but still like half an inch. They're by no means microscopic crickets or anything. I told my boyfriend there's 29 crickets stuck in another dimension. Case file 1466. 29 crickets lost in a parallel universe. So yes, DOP can occur even to living entities, and maybe it does mesh with having a soul or not having a soul. Maybe insects don't have souls. That is an interesting question. Where is the cutoff point? Does a virus have a soul? Bacteria? Single-celled organisms? I don't think so. Do animals? Probably. Human beings definitely, at least most of them. But then yeah, what about an insect? What about a cricket? Does a cricket have a soul? That is such an interesting question, and of course it's not really possible to answer it. It's just assumptions. We know they're intelligent, but intelligence in and of itself doesn't mean you have a soul. That could be computer generated. So it does make you wonder, maybe free will, the ability to make choices outside of your programming, is an indication that you have a soul. If you go and take actions contrary to that programming, yeah, you probably have some force, some will, some power, some energy that is within you that is able to power through what you're supposed to be doing. But yeah, I would have gone mad, knowing that there were so many crickets in a bag and then they're all gone. That is one of the more overt kinds of DOP, especially when you have witness and it happened again in the shop when you went back in. Mind blown. Case file number 1467, written by davehaysmusic. The Melody of a Goodbye. My father had cancer and was in hospice at my home. The bed was set up in the living room in front of the TV, which was one of his favorite places. The bed was next to a wall, which had our kitchen on the other side. I was sitting in the kitchen with my mom most of the night and was showing her a bunch of songs. This was a common occurrence for me because I love music and always love showing people songs. A few minutes before midnight, I heard a noise come from the living room. I don't even know what I heard exactly, but I immediately paused the music and walked into the living room followed by my mom. We immediately saw his breath was slowing, and a few minutes later, he was gone. A half hour later or so, I realized that the song that was playing when all this happened was "Say Hello to Heaven" by Temple of a Dog. A while after that, my mom turned on the radio and the beginning of a chorus of "Before You Go" by Louis Capaldi was playing, which my mom turned off maybe 20 seconds later. Was all this coincidental? Likely, but maybe my dad was saying goodbye through music, knowing how powerful of a message it would be to my musician self. Case on file 1467, The Melody of Goodbye. So I honestly think the music is a binding factor, a binding agent that can connect people together. And there is some truth to that. There's olfactory senses where smell, but also sound can play a great role in memory. And of course, we know each other mainly through memory. So if you want to remember something or someone, a song is perfect for that. Or it can be more literal, like a song talking about the afterlife, something like that. But yes, it's a beautiful way if you die and you have some method to control music that's playing next. to let them know that you're still around, or at least we're temporarily still around. Maybe they go into the white light after that, I don't know, but it's like the true love of the universe is the vibration of the atoms in the atmosphere that we need to live. Without the air, we have nothing. Case file number 1468, written by Chels182. That's not Venus. Couple nights ago, my boyfriend and I were visiting my mom. He goes outside to start the car while I get some stuff together to bring with us. He rushes back in and tells me there's an orange thing outside and it's moving. That's his code for one of the weird orange spherical blobs in the sky he's had a couple encounters with. So I go out to look and it's in the distance. Looks stationary. I use my Sky Guide app and it says it could be Venus, but that didn't make any sense. It was just a little off from where I was pointing, and Venus would have been below our horizon line. Venus is also usually bright white, and planets don't twinkle. This thing was twinkling like crazy, and going from orange to red to white, getting bigger and smaller and brighter and dimmer. We're watching it go crazy until it finally gets big and bright, shrinks down to a little white dot, and blinks out. We waited there stunned for it to come back, thinking a passing cloud blocked it out or something. It never came back. No other star or celestial body around it disappeared, just that one. He showed me pictures he took before I came out, and the thing definitely covered some ground before I came out to look at it. This is rather minor on the weird scale for what I've seen, but it happened right before our eyes. Him and I have seen a lot of weird crap together as well, especially in the skies. Case on Sofa 14968. That's not Venus. There are a lot of Venus-looking UFO sightings, and a few of them that I haven't read on the channel, but the initial factor is that it moves in the sky and then it becomes stationary. Of course, Venus wouldn't do that, or the movement would actually be quite slow, even though it would be persistent and very consistent. So you have a case here where there is definitely an object up there. Doesn't mean it's alien. It could just be some unknown plane or object that, again, I agree, I don't think it's a balloon. But yeah, it definitely could be some sort of aircraft that we're testing, that the military is testing. Or it could even be some kind of blimp. I think those, if you have a certain turbine fans on it, can actually become stationary, so that's a possibility too. Case file number 1469, written by Reddit user 112234. The house that ate my phone. When I was still living with my parents, my then boyfriend, now husband, and I were watching my 2-year-old nephew at the house. Me and my nephew were watching TV upstairs, and my boyfriend went to the bathroom quickly while I went down to grab something and threw my phone onto the bed. I remember it landing exactly in the middle and thinking, nice. I went back upstairs and decided to just leave my phone because I wasn't on it a lot at that point. After less than 2 minutes, I went back downstairs saying there's no way I can be without my phone for that long. When I got downstairs, I discovered it was gone. My boyfriend and I tore that room apart that day. I even looked between the mattress and bed frame and under the bed, thinking maybe it glitched through the bed. Of course, people said maybe my nephew took it, but he was upstairs the whole time, and remember, it was barely 2 minutes. We also didn't hear anything to point to someone stealing it, though it's high in that neighborhood. Throughout the years of my parents living there, I tore that room apart every chance I could. I looked behind a dresser and a bookshelf, under the bed, all over the closet, and found nothing. The day my parents moved out, I was pulling out random bags that were stored in an alcove above the closet, when all the way in the back, under a trash bag of clothes and about 5 bags in, I found the case for the phone I lost. We searched that alcove and the other one every single time we destroyed the room looking for it. I never got that phone back, and we searched every nook and cranny of that house the day we emptied out that house to move out. This is just one of our many things that have disappeared, and the only one to not return after a while. It's also the creepiest thing to ever happen to me in that house. Case on File 1469. The house that ate my phone. So this is weird because the phone case returned. It's almost like something was trying to return the whole thing, but it was only able to manage the case. A partial DOP returned. Or it's almost like if you had the case where a skirt returned, a jean skirt. What if only half of it came back? Does it have to be the full thing? I guess not, but usually it is, almost always. In fact, I think this is the first time a DOP event returned the object and it was only partial. Very odd. Some mistake in that. There's almost like a DOP return and then DOP partial DOP again. I don't know, it's a jumbled mess in this one. And now time for the quote of the day. Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence. True friendship is a plant of slow growth, and must undergo and withstand the shocks of adversity before it is entitled to the appellation. George Washington. So I'm a big believer in that who we allow to be in our lives, to be close to us. Again, I agree, be courteous to everyone, unless they've given you a reason not to be, but that should be the default stance. But in terms of intimate relationships, close friends or loved ones, never feel obliged to be with someone that isn't a match for you. Maybe they're not even bad people, they just don't mesh with your personality and what you want from life. In that case, move on. But also, understand that it can take time. Give it a lot of chances. The seed grows very slowly and often does have to be tested. But if it turns out that it's not the correct plant for you, that's okay. Move on, find one that is for you. Because if not, they'll be siphoning your energy forever. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.